This news program is proudly brought to you by
Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits
and Now Biscuits.
Two judges sworn in upon reappointment. Call on potato imports banned by farmers. And 2 dead after a shootout in Kimbe. Good evening, you're watching National EMTV News. I'm Grace Papiali. Thank you for joining us. Two judges, Justice Elenas Batari and Justice Jeffrey Shepherd, were sworn in today at the Government House in Port Moresby. Formalities were made with and by the Head of State, His Excellency Sir Bob Dadai. The swearing-in ceremony was witnessed by Sir Gibbs Salika, other judges and members of the National Judiciary. With the reappointment of these two judges, Justice Elenas Batari and Justice Jeffrey Shepherd, the formalities in terms of the declaration of loyalty, oath and judicial were conducted. As per approval by Chief Justice Sir Gibbs Salika, the judges were reinstated into office on the 9th of February 2023. Grand Chief Sir Bob Dadai officiated the ceremony. Chief Justice Salika said that the number of judges remains at 47.
47. But the current ceiling is still 40. These two are still in the 40. The acting judges plus the chief justice and deputy chief justices are not counted in that 40.
He further highlighted the year of retirement for judges.
My brother, who's just been appointed for another 2 years, is 70 now. That means he's got a further 2 years before he reaches the retirement age of 72. And then after he reaches 72 years of age, then it's up to him whether to extend it for another 3 years to 75.
Chief Justice Sir Gibbs Salika has explained the delay of the process of completing the new state-of-the-art courthouse at Waigani in the nation's capital. He made his statements today at the Government House in Port Moresby. The new courthouse is currently still undergoing development due to the delay in PNG local hardwood and technical and information technology equipment. These were the sentiments expressed by Chief Justice Sir Gibbs Salika.
Papua New Guinea, for some reason, cannot supply hardwood for our interior furnishings and all that. The hardwood, the rosewood and the teak and the quila and the information technology equipment. As you know, the new courthouse is an e-court. It's an e-court. It will be that.
With the left wing of the building completed, moving in will require proper installment of equipment.
The wing is complete. We are trying to move in, making plans to move in the registry and their staff. The IT people will be the first people to move in. IT people plus the court reporting services. They will be the first people to move in. And they must move in after all the electronic stuff have been installed.
He further said that it is likely that the courthouse will open next year, with construction finishing off by the end of this year.
Yeah. So we've got this 9 months to go. But during these 8 months, 9 months, everything should be installed.
Local farmers are calling on the government through the Department of Agriculture to ban the importation of potatoes as it drastically affects local farmers.
Local potato farmers are appealing to the government of the day to be considerate of them and create a market for them to supply their locally grown potatoes rather than importing. They say the government is always placing an emphasis on agriculture, yet simple farmers are struggling to sell their produce as a result of the government importing goods from overseas, which are grown right here in PNG. Brian Lohia, a potato farmer from Western Islands province, highlighted that imported potatoes are greatly affecting their sales.
Sting na stabe am usai pa pem olsla. Mipla faul na about na. Waste nothing all good la kai all man by baim na mipla ba make money na help him online do mipla lo players na olsla kan need do mipla ba. Nemlo na potato too comes sting. All geta
Actions needs to be taken by relevant authorities to address such issues local farmers are facing. Farmer Brian is asking as to why the country is importing when these very goods are grown in the country.
Outside where import come inside the country blow you some potato blow New Zealand no make him blow me blow go bump. Also quality all like chim na all. Blow me blow at 2 o'clock. Only money na planning lo place na kare come no waste nothing. Sila one la appeal blow me blow. You public government must look so well sila. Tasol me blow.
Sharon Engnui, National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, local farmers from Western Highlands province are calling on the responsible authorities to engage a company to buy their produce and distribute. They made this appeal following some of the struggles they have encountered when it comes to getting their produce to consumers. Local farmers raised their concerns at the Geru market in the nation's capital today.
As the country is faced with tough economic situations, experts and other heads of departments have urged to people to divert their preferences to local produce, so to help the local farmers and sustain themselves at this time of economic tough times. James Alphonse, a local farmer from Western Highlands province, highlighted some of the struggles they have been encountering in the process of bringing their produce to Port Moresby.
Noka tuam la good la market struggle blom mibla kam long again kam long lay course blong all something e go on top na kam long sivim bolla kaige kam long shift slim shift price to em go on top mibla struggle to na kam long Moresby so long time mibla sivim all kaige sivim silan na dry container samble molla kage bagarap na west nothing kakao and plant ul bagarap potato tu bagarap cabbage tu bagarap na mible west big money lot slaula kage blom mibla ta mible planimol kage course blonga fertilizer min go handap na price min go handap long 300.
He added that farmers are losing a lot of money through transportation of their produce as they get damaged along the way due to lack of proper storage facilities. They are appealing to the responsible authorities to step in and assist them come up with a workable solution that will benefit both the farmers and consumers.
Tamible give him a civimola kage gamlong sive mibla save fame government to rate blong tax blong and 2M go on tablo display. Namible look at mem. Tamible saving come and price 2M go on top. Please mible kiss and time straight. So mible like him government must sorry lo mibla. Na said him good lo market. Na mible again. Plan him kage give him na mible wait him money come long. Bank na account mible must check him balance to na stop na mible walk and 24 hours mible walk. Sunday to Sunday.
Most of these local produce suppliers are from Eastern and Western Highlands province, and in that respect, they're appealing to their respective provincial governors to step in and help.
As a governor of Mibla, I must too look savvy on Isla too. Because Mibla, can say the Mabla good la market long again, na Mibla can sublime, all Gaga go opposite to got road stop. All lay, all Moresby, can make them sambla, can well send. Now,
Sharon Engnui, National EMTV News.
An attempted hold-up on a PMV truck has cost the life of a mother and her child after the loose pellet fired by criminals hit the 2-year-old child, with his mother also sustaining serious wounds. Relatives of the deceased from Kilo village have mobilized attempting to storm into the provincial capital, Kimbe, however, were intercepted and stopped by police.
The attack by criminals happened at Tarai Market, Kulungi, along the Talasia Highway last weekend. In recent weeks, Kimbe has witnessed frequent deadly shootouts by criminal elements. Deaths were frequent and have been ongoing in the oil palm-rich province. The local people of Kilo village yesterday attempted a protest march to the provincial capital Kimbe to seek justice for the innocent lives lost in the hands of merciless criminals. In a phone interview with the Provincial Police Commander, Chief Superintendent Peter Baki this afternoon, several arrests have been made. PPC Baki further told this newsroom that Talasia MP Freddie Kumai has given 30,000 kina as demanded by the relatives as bail call money to the relatives of the deceased as tension is building up on retaliation. According to PPC Baki, a task force investigation team has been set up in the province to take on this case and address law and order issues in the province. The resource-rich West New Britain province has recently had a breakdown in law and order. However, police under the leadership of PPC Baki are doing all they can to curb this and are determined to change the true Pasing West province back to its glory days. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. People of North Lai District in Western Province, particularly youths, have been urged not to get involved in illegal activities that will destroy their future. Yogi Village Councillor Lexi Gawit made this remark following the increasing number of law and order problems in his village and Kiunga town recently.
Councillor Lexi Gawit says young people must prioritize education for a better future instead of getting involved in unproductive activities. Councillor Lexi Gawit is urging youths in Yogi Village, Ward 29 of Kiunga Rural Local Level Government and the surrounding villages to refrain from such activities. He says youths are the future leaders and the development lies on their hands. Therefore, they must put education first. According to police in Kiunga, law and order problems can be reduced if councillors of respective villages work together to carry out more law and order awareness in their villages. Provincial Police Commander for North Fly Command, Senior Inspector Oina Afeke, says all leaders must work together to eradicate ongoing law and order problems faced within the district.
This is the youths for the people of North Fly District, Western Province, and we encourage our young people to stay out from all those behaviors, social behaviors that can breed fear.
As this issue continues, member for North Fly James Donald has urged people from other provinces going to Western Province to respect the locals.
When you come and stay here, if you think this is your home, welcome, not something. Come and settle, do whatever you want to do it peacefully. Stay calm, do the right thing. Behind him, Loblo country, behind him, Loblo water, behind him, Ting Ting last place. Not causing more problem. We will work with you so long as you follow.
He also urged the locals, especially the people of Awin tribe, Yongom, Nomad, Febol, among others, to have respect for others too.
Yongom, Awin, Highway, Grengas, one end you go all the way, up this way. It's what you do. Accent, mouse blue, talk blue, doesn't cause more problem. Not the Chimbu, not the Tari, not the Wabek that Amikam. It's what we say, how we do, how we behave, creative environment. We make him this blood clear.
James Donald stressed that in order to have peace and harmony within the district, all people must address ongoing problems at individual levels. Jim John, National EMTV News.
The notorious Transgogol area in Medang has been a hotspot for murder and violent crimes in the past 10 years, causing basic health and education services in the area to close as workers fled in fear of becoming victims. Past government interventions and police efforts have had little to no impact in curbing crime in the area. This has prompted community leaders from the Abenob and Transgogol LLGs to work together and come up with a memorandum of understanding between the community and the provincial government and state bodies to ensure peace and restore basic services in the area.
Teachers and health workers left the area, leaving the only secondary school in the LLG, the Transgogol Secondary School, Bao Primary and Technical Vocational School, and health facilities closed since the beginning of the year. Students who went seeking spaces elsewhere were turned away. This prompted the community leaders to find a solution and bring back the teachers and ensure peace and normalcy is restored. The MOU was witnessed and signed by the Medang Governor Ramsey Pariwa, Medang Provincial Administrator Frank Lau, Teachers Service Commissioner Joseph Oyum, and other stakeholders and community leaders. Governor Pariwa said it is up to the community to honor the commitment they have made if they are to see change in the area.
And you are looking for after so many years of despair or this or no at all. This is not royal, this is something that never wants to come. We lose in parliament and you can lose more about it.
Medang Provincial Administrator Frank Lau commended the community leaders for taking the initiative and challenged them to honor the MOU and work closely with his administration to deliver basic services and infrastructure.
MOU you must sign it now, but our person come up strong. You got committee. So you got take ownership of that. Paper, we take ownership and back again. Usai you pasang usah paper now. We don't have a committee to usah document. Sa document they paper natin. But emotion you passing to ka. Passing to sa doa school basa teacher right. Roll over.
Amanda Elaitia, National EMTV News.
In a combined partnership program hosted by PNG Life Education Institute and the Calgary Clinic GBV Center, mothers were presented free diapers for their children and sanitary pads for the women. Good health and hygiene enhances a good mind and eventually a healthy, happy life. These were the words of Rose Marai, a passionate GBV coordinator based at Calgary's Living Light Health Center in Port Moresby.
These are some of the mothers who bring their babies for antenatal clinic here at Calgary. According to Rose Marai, a volunteer gender-based violence or GBV worker attached to this clinic, a lot of mothers that she sees almost daily are survivors of GBV. Today, the clinic, in partnership with PNG Life Education Institute and Panamex Pacific PNG Limited, distributed free diapers and other products to these mothers in an attempt to inform them about help that is available if and when they face violence. Rose Marai, who is affectionately known as Auntie Rose, talks about the work that she does in helping mothers in that area.
I do gender-based violence and I do house-to-house connections, inter-connections and support group meetings, inter-settlement. So what I do is like the mothers that who are facing violence, they come to the clinic when they are facing financial violence. So this is what we are doing. We are reducing poverty in the house and bringing healthy home, healthy family to create our healthy nation. Everybody has to liberate in the house.
Gender-based violence is an everyday issue that is affecting families, especially mothers and children. Passionate people like Rose Marai are trying to change the perception and mindsets of the women in that area that GBV must not be entertained and must be reported for help. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
In an attempt to curb gender-based violence at Kaugere and the surrounding areas, the PNG Life Education Institute partnered with the Kaugere Living Life Clinic today to speak to the mothers about life skills training. Director of the school, Rai Guinea, said they not only train students but are also very involved in their students' well-being from school until employment.
Students of the school were also on hand to make awareness and inform mothers about gender-based violence and how the school, through its programs, has assisted in employment. Director of the school, Rai Guinea, explained on the partnership with the Kaugere Clinic and about this awareness.
12 years we have produced more than 10,000 Papua New Guineans into the training life skills. Not only training them, but giving them employment opportunities. We train them and we give them employment.
Mr. Guinea said that most of his students come from GBV families in that area, but that did not stop them from succeeding in life. A very concerned Mr. Guinea explained that although they receive support from various business houses, government support is needed to fund community programs as such.
So with the companies, likewise I said, there's 8,000 currently as we are speaking. They're working at the moment and we want to produce more. So if the companies are supporting, we want stakeholders, more group of people to come inside, especially the government. Now, just a while ago, certain days ago, they were talking about this huge unemployment and the government doesn't have solution. There's a problem. When there's a problem, there must be a solution to it. We cannot say unemployment is a problem and there's no solution to it. Let's create.
The PNG Life Education Institute is situated at Kaugere and continues to strive in its endeavor to bring children out of GBV homes and nurture them into finding employment. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
BSP Group General Manager for Retail Daniel Font said the SME Credit Enhancement Scheme loan continues to get a lot of traction in retail lending since its rollout on the 4th of October 2020. To date, they have funded over 332 million kina in SME Credit Enhancement Scheme loans, assisting over 2,000 SMEs. He says equity requirement was reduced from 30% to 10%, with an increase of funding from 3 million kina to 5 million kina in May of 2021. That allowed for greater participation from the SME sector in this scheme.
BSP Financial Group Limited continues to drive the SME sector in the country by assisting local businesses expand, generate revenue, and create more employment through the various SME loan products it offers. BSP Group General Manager for Retail said in 2022, BSP funded 310 million kina in loans under the SME Credit Enhancement Scheme that assisted over 1,000 SMEs. Overall, BSP has assisted 2,967 SMEs in the past 10 years with the various SME lending products it offers. BSP Head of SME, Samuel Molina, said the SME retail lending team continues to deliver in the SME space and continue to fund loans using its own funds under the SME CESL facility despite exceeding the annual 100 million kina support funding provided by the national government. More than 141 businesses have been assisted with 14 million kina from BSP Smart Business Loan, while 64 customers have been assisted with a total funding of over 657,000 kina through BSP's micro business loan products. Molina concluded that BSP not only gives out loans, but one of their obligations as the leading financial institution is to provide financial literacy trainings in their chosen markets, and the SME segment is no exception. Esther Gane, National EMTV News.
And now we take a look at the Nest Fund market report. The Kina closed unchanged at $0.2840 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, Kina was buying $0.2765 $0.4085 Australian dollars, $0.2504 euro, 35.87 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading higher, coffee closed higher, cocoa closed higher, copra closed higher, palm oil closed lower, crude oil is trading higher, and copper closed higher. On the stock market, the Dow Jones closed higher, the ASX 200 is trading higher, the All Ordinaries is trading higher. National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. Madang Governor Ramsey Pariwa said his commitment to education in the province stands as he plans to have more schools built in the province to cater for the growing population. He stated this while speaking at the signing of the peace MOU between communities in the crime-affected Transgogol area and the government and state agencies in Madang.
Governor Pariwa said one of his commitments to education in Madang is the Sir Peter Bata Tertiary Scholarship for Madang students. Pariwa said the scholarship is named after late Sir Peter for his contribution to the province.
Commitment from law, tertiary institution and legal scholarship law, Peter Bata. Me honor remember the great governor of all time.
The scholarship was launched this year and will pay 75% of school fees for Madang students studying in tertiary institutions. Governor Pariwa also highlighted his commitment to elementary and secondary schools.
Commitment from me, Lord, grade 12 elementary and staff. 1 ward. Masih in 1 primary school or more than 1 primary school depend on the population of Sumati in a low way class or mountain or water. 1 LG masih more than high school, 1 high school, 1 secondary, more than 1 secondary. Depend one kind of same. That's the requirement. From population of school magi or geography of mountain or low way class na water or so water.
Madang Provincial Administrator Frank Lau told the people that education is the way forward to reduce law and order problems in the communities.
You must study on school. You must go to school, you work, educated, work money, lower the family stuff. So education is the way forward.
Natasha Ovoy, National EMTV News.
The International Women's Night is celebrated after International Women's Day, a tradition Divine Word University in Madang holds to mark the International Women's Day that falls on March 8. This year, the university celebrated with the theme Digital Innovation and Technology for Gender Equality. The event was held over the weekend to mark the contribution of women and girls to society.
Longtime women advocate and student councillor Ruby Matane said women in PNG are still fighting just to access basic services. She emphasized that we must not be dismayed as we use moments like the International Women's Day to remember those women who have fought in the past for gender equality. Speaking on the theme, Matane said technology can be a tool to advocate for gender equality. Matane said 2 out of 3 women still experience physical and psychological violence in their homes and communities. And working as a counselor, she has come across many cases of women dealing with psychological issues at home. She commended the men who have contributed and are continuing to help address this issue and said it will require effort from both genders to ensure that we have a gender-equal society. Natasha Ovoy, National EMTV News.
Now moving to overseas news, Xi Jinping and his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin have met in Moscow and will discuss what they call China's best plan for Ukraine in the coming days.
Look, this is an incredibly significant visit, if only because it signals the extent of Beijing's enduring diplomatic and strategic support for Russia. For the longest time, China has presented itself as an impartial actor in this, wanting peace between Ukraine and Russia and not standing on Russia's side. But we've had all of this diplomatic messaging over the course of the last year, providing succor to Moscow. And then a visit of this kind with all the pomp and circumstance, with all the fanfare and all the positive messaging from Xi Jinping himself suggests China's enduring support for Russia and China not being effectively an honest peace broker in this conflict here. And we're likely to see out of this a solidification of the trade relationship with Russia for China. China is Russia's largest trading partner. It is critical for Moscow to maintain that trading relationship so it can continue prosecuting its war in Ukraine. And we're likely to see more benefits for Russia out of this visit in that regard.
Okay. And China has put forward this 12-point peace plan for Ukraine. The West is dismissive of it, but what does it propose?
So the peace plan is aimed at bringing the conflict to a close. But of course, from Beijing's point of view, the question is not whether the conflict ends. The question is how the conflict comes to an end. China wants this conflict to come to an end without Russia having to suffer a humiliating defeat.
A SAS veteran has been charged with a war crime of murder.
Hugely significant in over a century of overseas military engagements. This is the first time that an Australian soldier, in this case a veteran for alleged events back in 2012, have been charged with offences, war crimes offences. So this is the first time that an Australian soldier has been investigated and charged for this kind of offence. Hugely significant.
And what kind of court will hear this case, Damien?
It'll be heard in a conventional criminal court before a jury. It won't be heard in a military court. They tend to hear the more minor sort of offences. This, of course, is a war crimes offence, and we do have war crimes legislation in this country, and it will be held in a presumably the Supreme Court of New South Wales.
Okay, and have other Western countries begun similar prosecutions of their own soldiers or veterans, Damien?
There have certainly been cases, I'm told, of soldiers who've been charged with offences like torture for events in Iraq, I think US and British soldiers, but they have been heard in the military courts of those countries as opposed to the criminal courts, the conventional criminal courts, like what will happen for this offender here, alleged offender here in Australia.
Violence has erupted in France as the current government survived 2 votes of no confidence.
Protesters faced off with police on the streets of Paris, setting fire to rubbish left uncollected as part of ongoing strike action. There's been widespread anger over President Macron's decision to bypass Parliament and raise the retirement age from 62 to 64. Both no-confidence motions failed, the first falling short by just 9 votes.
National EMTV News continues after the break with Trukai Sport. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. National Rugby League franchise the Central Dabaris today saw its players in training this morning ahead of their curtain raiser match this coming weekend. Hubert Warupi told the media that the team is ready to test their skills after months of preseason games and training.
National Rugby League franchise the Central Dabaris today saw its players training this morning ahead of their curtain raiser match this coming weekend. CEO Hubert Warupi says the team is ready to test their skills after months of preseason games and training. Warupi said the team is looking good for the season and is hoping for a top finish towards the end of the season.
In January, a few additional boys were called into the training program, and we were also very fortunate to have secured the services of Solo Kuliniasi, who's really enhanced the preseason training program. So the boys have done almost 15 weeks of preseason training.
He said no member of the other franchise have been added to the team, but have tried to maintain the team from last year.
The boys do look good. They've been well looked after on and off the field, so we're hoping that we'll be able to maintain our progress from last season, and with the aim of making it one step further in this year's competition.
The team has few more weeks in training before the 2023 season of the National Rugby League competition kicks off. Godwin Eki, Trukai Sports.
Meanwhile, the CEO for Central Dabaris, Hubert Warupi, says the franchise is the only club to have a GPS tracking device for its players. He said by adding little things such as the GPS tracking packs that the players can use during their training only goes to show how the club is improving moving forward.
GPS tracking device is the first for any club to use in the National Rugby League competition. CEO for Central Dabaris, Hubert Warupi, said he is happy to see the team use the device.
We're very proud to be the first franchise in the country to have the GPS tracking units, because it helps. It helps with the type of loads the boys will conduct during training, so that we don't tire the boys out, the fatigue, as we know, the weather, the elements and all of that, so it will help.
He said by adding little things such as the GPS tracking device that the players can use during their training only goes to show how successful the club is improving moving forward.
Yeah, so the GPS trackers, obviously bringing in Solo Kuliniasi has given us a lot wider information and scope on how we can do things better as a franchise, particularly for our players. Solo's intelligence and knowledge and experience has allowed us to looking at what sorts of equipment that's out there that can help the boys.
Godwin Eki, Trukai Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. This year, the Goodman Field Days International is coming big with their sponsorship support towards the Central Dabaris Rugby League franchise. According to club CEO Hubert Warupi, this is not the first time GFI is coming on board, but the company has been with the team since 2020.
CEO Hubert Warupi said if it wasn't for the backing of such corporate company, the team wouldn't be where it is today.
Developing a lot of community initiatives over the years, and the Dabaris board felt that we needed to give a little bit more back to our sponsors because of the profile that the Dabaris needed to lift. And
GFI PNG brand manager Nancy Inai mentioned that the company is thrilled to continue their partnership with the Central Dabaris franchise and are looking forward to engage with their passionate members to showcase their brand. Warupi said the team will continue to work side by side with GFI.
Rugby League program. We commenced that program as of last year. We had 12 teams that were participating in an age group competition from under 14 to under 20. This year we will go from under 12 to under 20, and that's important because we want to build a legacy for the franchise. We want to build our next champions that will carry the the flag of Central Province and the Central Province team, Dabaris.
Godwin Eki, Trukai Sports.
Moving to overseas sports in tennis, Carlos Alcaraz is now officially the world #1 after defeating Daniil Medvedev. But now spectators are anxious to see when he will take on Novak Djokovic.
To see it because, as you said, Carlos Alcaraz now officially the world #1 after thrashing Daniil Medvedev in the final at Indian Wells. He said, you know, it wasn't as easy as it looked, but it was 6-3, 6-2 to the Spanish teenager. So such a dominant display from him. So that means he now heads into Miami, which starts this week. So don't worry, Roz, we have no break from tennis. I'm here to report we don't even need to take a week off. We don't like our weeks off tennis. So that's a relief to both of us. Qualifying has already started in Miami, actually, and I'll bring you more on that shortly. But if Carlos Alcaraz is to hold on...
Australia cricket star Aaron Finch has taken his cricketing skills to the US in a new cricket competition.
Retirement. I spoke to him, Roz, and he was talking about his new quiet life in Geelong. Well, guess what? He's going to swap that up for San Francisco, where he will be the captain of the Unicorns. There's going to be 6 teams playing in the inaugural Major League Cricket. This is happening in mid-July, and it just sounds like Major League Baseball, doesn't it, Roz? He'll go over there with Marcus Stoinis, who's also on the Unicorn side, and also Mitch Marsh. Now, these new teams are being funded by a number of countries. So the Indian Premier League are putting a lot of investment into these teams in America, as is state cricket in Australia. So the Big Bash League almost partnering with this new tournament. There's also...
And that ends Trukai Sports. The Money Plus weather report is next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by Money Plus. With you always.
And now we take a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. In the southern region, Port Moresby City becoming partly cloudy with possible showers and thunderstorms. Daru partly cloudy with few showers. Kerema becoming partly cloudy with evening brief showers. Alatau and Popondetta becoming partly cloudy with evening showers and possible thunderstorms. In Momasa region, Lay City mostly fine, though partly cloudy. Medang mostly fine, partly cloudy. Wewak and Vanimo mostly fine. In the New Guinea Islands region, Lorengau and Kavieng mostly fine. Kokopo, Rabaul, Buka mostly fine. Kimbe partly cloudy with possible evening showers and thunderstorms. In the Highlands region, Mount Hagen City partly cloudy with few showers. Gorka and Kundiawa partly cloudy with evening showers. Mendi and Wabeg partly cloudy with evening showers and possible thunderstorms.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by Money Plus. With you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Tuesday, the 21st of March, 2023. From all of us here, pleasant viewing. Bye for now.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.